And we're live with another episode of the Game Theory Podcast. This is 76.1, is that right? Yeah, Jesus. We're old as shit, man. We're like
Ooh,
140 in dog years or something. No, 400 something. 490. But anyway,
or some kind of math thing.
yeah, we're over 9,000 for sure. But what's been up, man? We got a shit ton of snow. I think a lot of people did, but in Mississippi?
Yeah, we actually had our first snow day last week, as I said, and we had the rest of the days were pretty much late starts because of how snowy the roads still were.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's if even Colorado's shutting down their schools, something's a problem. But yeah, here in Mississippi, we got enough to build like a snowman. We made it a little Minecraft creeper because the kids are obsessed with Minecraft. Yeah, we just took food coloring and like sprayed it green. But it was fun. It was really nice to have like almost a week off of school. It was incredible, especially because I just handed in like the next round of edits on my thesis, and I just want to get it done. Like, my advisor's like, I've already told you guys about this. Whatever. Point is there's just so much extra stuff to add every time. I'm always just curious about when I could just be done.
Now, did you?
But
How many times did you hear? Well, so much for global warming when it started snowing in Mississippi.
yeah, yep. Fortunately, I only hang around academic circles for the most part, so that was nice. But I saw it on Facebook and stuff. In fact, uh, my wife's dad made a comment like that, but we'll save that for another time. It's he's a very conservative man, so yeah. What can you do? What can you do? In-laws, they're sometimes they're amazing. Like I love her brothers and her sister's fun. Like they're all cool.
Yeah.
And her dad's nice. It's just we just are fundamentally just not on the same page. But he's a nice guy. It's whatever. We do our things. But yeah. So lots of snow, lots of time off. What did you do with your time off?
Well, just mostly actually played some games, trying to get caught up on games that I'm behind on, and Netflix. There's a whole new season of House of Cards and Mad Men that I haven't seen, so I've been catching up on those.
Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about that in the news section, and you'll see why that relates to games. But there's something talking about that and how that related to video games, and I was like, all right, that's definitely something I want to touch on. But other than that, yeah, it's been pretty cool. We had interview weekend here, which was pretty hilarious. It was basically it's like a bunch of people trying to get into PhD school for clinical psychology, and they have like a whole weekend where they get to like tour the facility, talk to their advisors, talk or potential advisors, people they're applying under, and ask all about the program, and basically just spend a lot of time with graduate students and ask them questions. And I was always like, real time, real talk, let's go. And I bring them in the back of the clinic, and they just be like, you don't have to impress me, man. Like I don't care. I'll just ask me the questions, and I'll give you the dirt on the the different faculty. Because that's what you want to know. One of the first people coming through said, "What's something you wish you knew when you were getting in?" I was like, that's a great question. I'm gonna start telling people that. So that's just what I did. I was like, here's what's awesome about that advisor. Here's something that maybe a conflict of your personality, depending. But it was awesome. It went pretty well. You feel like a superstar because they're all like, "How did you get here? What happens? That's so cool." Because they have to.
Right.
But that was what took up my weekend. I worked all day Saturday doing that, so yay, made up for a snow day, I'm sure.
Hooray.
Yay, working on the weekend. But anyway, well, I suppose we can get into our news section then, unless you have something else exciting that happened.
No, sounds good. Let's. I've just been grading essays, which is a little outside my purview normally, but I had my students write an essay about The Little Prince, the book that they read, and it's so interesting how many students think they can write a first draft and just turn that in, and it's gonna be fine.
Yeah, I remember doing that.
I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, and I could get away with it, but not everyone can. Like I'm reading it, I'm like, okay, so it seems like you found out what your thesis was around the last paragraph, and after a lot of meandering, maybe you should rewrite it now with that in mind.
Yeah, you gotta at least kind of think about it first and be like, how am I gonna approach this? Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
it really felt like
Here's
I was
my three
just
main
watching
points.
their train of thought. Like, okay, I'm writing a paper. Oh, this is kind of interesting. Paper's done.
Tell me more about that thing. Well, that's fun, but I doubt that's very entertaining. So, all right, cool. We'll move into the news section. All right, this is the recent news section. We're going to be talking about some of the big things in the headlines today. There was a decent amount this time for me, at least. Yeah, so I guess we'll get it started. There was a guy.
Start us off.
I don't know if you heard about this. Did you read this article about a guy who started playing League of Legends, and he kind of documented his first few weeks' experience?
No.
Okay, it's a writer over at Kotaku, and he had been introduced like a lot of people were earlier on in life, and he's kind of put off by it. And he's like, I can't do this. But then he got a roommate who was like, kind of a pro, and he's like, all right, fine, I might as well learn. So he sits down, he kind of documents his first few weeks in it, and he expected it to be, because League of Legends is famous for being toxic and volatile.
Mm-hmm.
But he said, some of the notes he said was, first of all, no, it wasn't so bad. Like that a lot of the people, what he didn't delineate, which he should have, was he started with co-op. And so he's like, yeah, I was asking questions, people were answering, it was so cool. And I was like, what? And the whole time I'm like, maybe they really did. I know they're trying to clean up their player base. Maybe they did. Maybe they solved it. But then later he was like, yeah, but as soon as I got a co-op, that's when the real games began. I was like, oh, well, that's League of Legends then. So then I watched that, and they just flamed the shit out of him. So, yeah, it was pretty funny. But overall, he said that he kind of gained respect for the game, and that he's starting to get addicted to it, and starting to realize why some people only play like MOBAs, like online, competitive games. And they're like, this is the one thing I'm doing, because it doesn't just require, it's fun, but it requires a lot of like time and dedication.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I was good.
Oh, I was just saying, one of the contrasts I was loving about that was reading and just being like, these games take like 40 minutes, because he's like, yeah, I played 3 games, but 3 games a day, that's like 3 hours. And I was like, what the because Here's the Storm's like 12 to 20. I'm like, it's over, it's done, good. Yeah, I don't know. I like the short game time.
I was talking to my sister on the phone, and I could hear like video game something in the background. And I was like, what's going on? It's like, oh, Tanner's playing some video game. Tanner's my like 4-5-year-old nephew. So yeah, 5 years old, I think. And I'm like, what's he playing? He's like, whatever game Chris is always playing, League of Legends. I was like, wait, he's playing League of Legends? Like, yeah, Chris stepped out, so he let Tanner play his character. I'm like, oh man, it's a good thing he can't read. They probably hate him. Like, yeah. They are probably saying the worst things that you've ever read right now.
Oh, there was that letter to League of Legends parents, because they know their player base. They're mostly kids. But a few of those, ever since you could buy your way into the beta, there's been a few of those coming over. We just played with a few. It's starting to get bad, but you need to go into Hero League, which is like the one that's ranked, because if you don't, you just get shitty players. Because if you play Hero League, it's ranked, and you're playing people about as good as you, and so they're not going to be like that typically. But if you play just Quick Match, which is just like finding opponents that are kind of around as good as you, but it's a lot more flexible, then it can get bad. We got people who were just, it was the worst, man. There was a guy who just left in the middle forever, right? And then I was like, well, I guess he's gone. A bot takes his place. He comes back, and all of a sudden he goes, sorry, man, I was about to crap myself. And I was like, why did you queue for a match if you were like literally, you're just like squirming in your seat? You're like, I got a turtle head poking out, queue, and then like he got into the match and then ran away. I don't get it. I was like, pee maybe, like pee sneaks up on you sometimes, but poop, like. You can be fighting a poop for hours, like. I don't know. Whatever.
Just don't queue until you're ready to go.
Yeah, that's why it's. You actually have to click a button that says "ready." Like you have to push that button. You're not ready if you have to take a crap. I don't know. And it was in the beginning of the game. It's not like it was like a 20-minute game, and he was like, "Whoa, I think I might have diarrhea or something." No, it was in the very beginning. He starts running. He runs around. He stops at the front tower and just logs out. Takes a crap. Comes back later, starts complaining that we're 2 levels behind. He's like, "What the hell, man?" I was like, "Are you serious right now? Or did you come over from League?" And he's like, "Shut up, noob." I was like, "I don't. Yeah, you must have come over from League." But anyway, pretty funny to read this guy's like walk through it, learning how to like do the weird, like orb walking and like last hit on creeps and stuff, and then talking about his interactions with the community, which he tried to paint in a positive light, but then you realize that he was just in co-op, and then you start reading the things he says and how awful he felt about himself, and I was like, yeah, that's League. I'm a pretty good video game player on other games, and I was all right at League too. Like I would do okay, and people would still like just shit all over me, and I was like, this is that guy has like 1 kill and 10 deaths, and he's telling me I'm awful, and I'm the opposite of that. Like, no, fuck this game. I can't stand it. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah, and we went in a previous episode about what makes that environment happen, but it seems to be fundamental to the game's design.
Yeah, unfortunately. But yeah. So, what kind of news item you have?
Well, speaking of League of Legends, they just changed the jungle mode, and people online are just kind of losing their minds about it. So jungling is, for people who don't play MOBAs, it's like a role where instead of actively like running in the lanes and fighting other players, you spend a lot of time going and fighting the little computer monsters to get buffs for your team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
So you're contributing to your team by like roaming around, killing the little computer things, and getting like their XP, but also like helping gank people on lanes. So you're kind of keeping an eye on which lanes get pushed back. But that's different now.
yeah, apparently they nerfed it. They made it a massive change to make it not as helpful to do that role.
Mm. Okay, and that's upsetting.
Yeah, there are a lot of champions whose whole point is jungling, right? Like that's like their main thing is to run around the jungle, and so it kind of feels like those characters just became a lot less fun to play.
Okay. Oh, couldn't. Okay, that's getting a little technical, but I was wondering, can't you just spend more time in lane, like in Heroes? That's what you do. You're just always in lane, and then you go to get jungle if you have a chance.
Yeah, it's just everyone's just like reading the Twitter things. It's just like, oh man, they keep ruining jungle. There's no point for jungle anymore. They're calling it the death of diversity because they don't have like it's like getting rid of a role almost from how they're reacting. I don't know how to actually play out. I don't play League of Legends and I don't really care, but to see the fan reaction, which isn't always like, people overreact. So this might just be nothing but people complaining about change. But there's a lot of languishing and gnashing of teeth from the League of Legends fan base.
Yeah. Well, I guess I could see that.
Every fucking patch they nerf the jungle. It's fucking terrible. -5 AD in smite range, and now you can't switch smites. Fucking dumb. Like that's kind of the tone of Twitter right now.
Yeah. This is a character base who's infamous for blaming others for their problems. So yeah, I imagine that they're gonna shit all over themselves. Like, I guess I'm a little more tolerant. I haven't played the game that long. There's not an established meta right now in Heroes, but if they change something, which they do all the time because it's an alpha, like drastic changes, I'm just like, okay, learn the new game. I don't know, whatever.
Right.
But,
As a player, am quitting jungling. I started jungling in Season 2 because all my friends either hated doing it or were much better at their other roles, and know what? I loved it. I loved not being tied to a lane like I was, and I dabbled in ADC and top doing the CS two-step and will he, won't he kind of trades. I loved being a force that gave the early game some dynamism. You, however, have killed my fun over and over again, and I'm not taking this anymore. From an open letter from Reddit user Gallo to Riot.
Oh, well, self-righteous prick telling League of Legends with 27 million people playing a day that now you've got 27 million basically, but actually it's 26.9999. Whatever. Still, fuck you. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
They don't care. They really don't care about losing one person. That's like telling McDonald's you're like you just lost a customer for life. They don't give a fuck. Like, you got to talk money to them. But anyway, whatever.
I buy a lot of cheeseburgers, so.
Yeah, I go there 3 times a day. Well, great. Then you would only been coming 10 more years anyway. You'd be dead. So fuck you. But yeah. It's just it's behaviorism. Just so there's two things that this community's horrible at, and it depends on if you're a CBT or an ACT like kind of guy. CBT would say it's psychological resiliency, and it's super important for like things like when you experience a psychological stressor or like trauma. Some people just don't develop any symptoms after that of anxiety and depression, because of this resiliency. And then ACT, it's psychological flexibility, which is more of an approach of life of allowing feelings and behaviors to come, or feelings to come through, and then decoupling those from behaviors. So I feel upset and I act upset. Those are two separate things. And you could feel upset, and then it naturally just your basically your fire alarm system in your head goes off, and it just kind of dampens those feelings, and eventually they go away, and you never have to act on them. And that's like ACT therapy. But anyway, these people need that shit so bad, man. Just chill. Like, let it slide off your back. Like, if someone's saying you're a shitbag, you're like, whatever. Just keep playing and being good. You look at the stats, and if you're doing fine, then you're doing fine. And if you're not, then who cares? And if you're not, then take the opportunity to learn. Be like, oh, what can I do better? It's don't. You're literally in League of Legends. You're literally playing in a playground of bullies, like bully little dickhead kids, like tiny little kids. You're like 20-something or 30-something. Fuck them. Like, you don't have to pay attention. But,
right.
Yeah. So anyway, my news item, my other one is that they built. I don't know if you heard about this in Minecraft, The Legend of Zelda. Did you hear about this?
Yeah. Yeah,
They
they're like
like
recreating the map.
no, just not just the map. Like that was impressive. I saw the map and I was like, oh, cool, a picture of it. I mean, and they built it just like they do Westeros or anything else. I was like, okay, so it's like Westeros but super easy because it's pixels. It was shitty back then. No, they've actually got under the ground. They've got all these machines that run like time of day, where the player is, whether what happens, like in the dungeon, things are going on, and then like when the person enters the dungeon, like blocks will move, and like it's actually programming. It's weird. Like when you go down, they show you all the little blocks of like they're like, see, this is right here. It holds the coding for like the chickens, so that when you hit the chicken multiple times, it summons a
Oh
ton of
wow.
chickens. And yeah, and then it's like here's the chicken wandering, and like it's insane. Like you've got to see this. It's nuts. One of our listeners had a really good idea of putting links to some of our news items in the Facebook page, and I think I'm going to do that. So I'll link it to anyone
Yeah.
listening. It's incredible. Like, just looking at the map was cool, but then they go on to show it's pretty cool. Yeah. So David, you probably like that. You're a huge Zelda fan.
Of course.
Yeah.
So my next news item is there's a new MOBA coming to town, and they're calling it a real-time strategy MOBA called Supernova, and it's supposed to be like if League of Legends and StarCraft had a baby.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't understand.
So like standard MOBA battles, you have like everyone's got one champion or three in the case of Lost Vikings,
Yeah.
and minion spawn and all that stuff, and that stuff's all there, but they're using RTS mechanics for like upgrading and deploying them to kind of have more of a rock paper scissors lane dominance thing, and it looks super chaotic.
Sweet.
You can craft upgrades that drop for your commanders, and yeah, it's just kind of like taking a lot of elements from StarCraft and putting them into a MOBA, so it should be cool.
That's pretty cool. I like controlled chaos games. I really enjoy those more. Like StarCraft's kind of a controlled chaos, like when you fight,
Yeah.
because there's so many units that you have to like. You're just kind of like you're not controlling every one character like in a MOBA. MOBAs are super relaxing to me because they're fucking easy as far as mechanics go. But decision making is really what makes you good in a MOBA. Mechanics. I mean, it's a skill shot. It's not even as hard as most of like old school games. I don't understand when people get all like circle jerky about the mechanics on those. It's just stupid to me. But whatever. The decision making is really hard to learn. But you saw that with the Vala thing, your whole Vala argument. Like,
Yeah.
the hardest guy in the game, you're like, it's kind of like controlling one character in StarCraft when I'm used to controlling 100 something. So, whatever. Like, It's
Yeah.
not that hard.
It's just she has an arrow that even if you miss it, it loops back around and still hits something. Like you can't you can have like a great shot or a good shot. Those are her two options.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But these people masturbate themselves on these mechanics, and I'm like, you don't understand mechanics. Come from StarCraft or an RTS, and you'll understand mechanics.
Yeah,
But,
this one actually lets you order the minions around, so like you can
Cool.
tell them to like guard or stop or charge, and like you have some different options for like actually changing the way the lane is instead of just the minions coming in waves. And it looks delightfully chaotic.
That sounds like a lot of fun. The one thing that I don't like about that is that you do remember playing StarCraft on the ladder, like a very highly demanding thing. It was like stressful, like
Yeah.
straight up stressful, to the point where like when you're done, you're like, ooh, like. And I don't know if I want another of those experiences, man. I'm starting to like this whole like, taking it easy, running around, being all peaceful, little team fight. Oh, I'm back. I'm okay again.
Yeah, this one kind of looks like Warcraft 3, but without the mining.
Oh, okay.
So it's probably like that level of stress where you're still kind of playing an RTS, but you have a hero unit.
What's this called again? Supernova?
Supernova, yeah, Supernova, which makes me think of like my favorite champion in Heroes as a superhero.
Supernova. She flies and snipes and invisible.
Oh, she's so bad right now. I feel bad for Nova.
She is, man. I've been playing some Zeratul, and he's a lot better right now, which is weird.
Yeah, because he has an escape. I've been saying this since day one. Any squishy character that can get out of trouble is going to have an advantage over the ones who can't.
Yeah, and he got something called Rewind, which refreshes all his abilities, so he can blink and then blink again, and it's insane. But anyway,
And he's Wormhole on top of that. Yeah. Anyway, it's great. He's a lot of fun.
He's ridiculous. But anyway, yeah. So that is one. Another one is there's this old game. I don't know if you ever played this. This is like one of those like like cherished games, like Legend of Zelda, like Link to the Past is one of these. Like where you've got a rabid fan base. Another one is EVE Online. You get a lot of these people who are just crazy about it. The original EverQuest, like a lot of people are just nuts about that, and maybe even still play it. Well, another one is called Homeworld. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, it's familiar to me.
It's like you're in space, and like it was really micro intensive. Like you have a ton of units. Pretty slow 3D space, so like you move the camera like around and down and under your. It was crazy. I watched someone play it and I could not even fathom. I had a roommate who played it and I don't know. It was intense. I tried to play it for like a week and I was like, I don't understand, and I quit because I suck. But anyway, the point is there was a lot of people really excited because they brought it back. They made like a part 2 basically, and yeah, apparently it's all improved and new. So I don't know if there's any listeners out there who used to play that game, but those who have played it and now played the new one are losing their shit. So go play that and then tell us what you think. I might even try to play it myself. I just am awful at it, or at least I was. So anyway, yeah, I'm really curious about it though. It seems like a lot of fun. I love big team games like that. Like where you can. I love team games in general. Whatever. So just let us know.
Well, this news is pretty mathematical. Adventure Time is being turned into a full-length movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've got McKay, who was one of the executive producers of the Lego Movie, hired to direct. He's also doing the Lego Batman movie, and they're bringing him on to do Adventure Time.
That's awesome. Okay, well that's weird because there's a new Lego movie coming out and a new Lego Batman, and a Lego Batman movie. So
right.
That guy's gonna be busy.
Yep, he's gonna be working along with Chris McKay and Roy Lee. And they both have done a lot of like Cartoon Network stuff and Robot Chicken, so it should be fun. I have no idea how it's gonna look. I hope they don't go for live action, but
oh my gosh, that'll be horrible.
Yeah,
people
if they just do it like The Simpsons,
like
just make it like a bigger. Oh yeah, for sure. I see a lot of every time I go to a convention, I see a lot of the alternate universe female Flynn cosplay.
Alternate universe female Flynn?
Yeah, Flynn. There's some episodes where they tell stories about like Flynn is a girl and it's like Cake the cat. And
I don't think that's no.
Fiona, I think is what they call her. But yeah, I see a lot of like girls doing Fiona cosplay whenever I'm at conventions.
Gotcha. Well, that's fun. Hopefully that'll be good. So my last news item actually has to do with psychology, kind of, because I always find it incredible that people are so willing to talk about human nature, or humans, or like what's good or bad for people, with absolutely no indication that this may have been studied. Like maybe there's some experts on this. Oh, there is. It's called psychologists. Like almost everything you can think of has been studied by psychologists as far as like behaviors that affect your health, right? Either mental or physical. But people are talking about the House of Cards, right? So what do people almost always do? New season of House of Cards come out. You start seeing pop up on Twitter, on Facebook. What are they talking about? Like
how bad his accent is?
Yeah, there's that, yeah. But like if they're talking about they're like, oh, new season of Netflix out. I'm about to what? Like
binge watch.
There you go, binge, yeah. Like I figured we'd be on the same page there. All of a sudden, people were like, "Oh, that's so bad for you. Like, this is the worst." In fact, here's the title: House of Cards and Netflix encourage our worst, by the way, underline worst pop culture tendency, the gorge. A couple things to say about that, but first of all, worst. I was like, worst, dude. We follow Paris Hilton's advice. What?
Yeah, we just had a measles outbreak in Disneyland because nobody's vaccinating in California. That's a pretty bad thing too.
Yeah, they found
literally
schools
dying from that. But
they found schools where 20% of the population of kids were unvaccinated. 20% in some parts of California. But no, seriously, the gorge is super important. There is nothing wrong with a gorge session. There's nothing wrong. In the medical literature, it talks about that too. It's called the holiday effect, where you take in a ton of calories, over a short amount of time, and they were measuring whether that's worse for you than just, if there's any kind of residual effects of that, rather than just packing on a lot of calories. And there's not. There's nothing wrong with it. If you go crazy for about 3-4 days, it's no worse for you than if you would have spread those out. Like there's no like additional effect or multiplicative effect. So like a gorge, it doesn't matter as long as you're exercising. Go fucking gorge. Who are these people? Ben Katura? Are you a doctor or? Like, I'm just so sick of people talking about things, one, of, like, behavioral health or psychological principles when they think they're acting like it's a fact. And I don't know, because they start talking about, like, games, too, being that way. Like, oh, new game comes out, and good thing Telltale doesn't release everything at once. That would encourage this gorge. It's good to make players wait. And I was like, why is it good to make players? I don't agree with that. I think 1 week of, like, a TV show is about as long as I want to wait. And even then I don't like that.
That reminds me, I learned a new word this week called ultracrepidarian.
What's that?
It means a person who criticizes, judges, or gives advice outside of the area of his or her expertise, i.e., a gynecologist talking about psychology.
Oh man! Oh dude, I gotta meet one of the listeners. I didn't tell you about this. There was one of the guys who made fun of that. His name is Blake. He came. His wife is in our program now, and so he came to one of the events. It was pretty cool.
Nice.
I talked to him about. We made fun of that Dr. Manny Alvarez guy.
He's such an ultracrepidarian.
He is. He's such an ultracrepidarian. But anyway, I just that was a news item that caught my thing because it was like the worst pop culture, and I was like, what? And it was like the gorge. I was like, what's wrong with gorging? There's nothing like anyway, whatever. Not gonna do it again. Not gonna go another diatribe, but you get it.
Yes.
Anyway,
so my last news item is kind of interesting to me because of my job. We have it's not really a uniform policy at my school where I work, but it's a dress code, and it's super hard to enforce because the seniors get to wear like certain things that no one else gets to wear, and it's not really uniform, but there's like certain things that are okay and certain things that aren't. It's like this weird halfway compromise between the uniform and not having one, and I just fucking hate it. It's hard to enforce. I don't want to be like measuring like, oh, super awkward. Like if a 17-year-old girl walks in my room and her skirt's too short, like I'm supposed to call her out on that and send her to change. Like that's not really what I want to be doing. So I usually just don't. And the kids hate it. Nobody's happy. But in Japan, a lot of their schools actually just have uniforms, right? Like just that's like the whole thing. And so what they've recently done is there are a couple schools in Kyoto that they're trying to appeal to more female students because they're technical schools, which typically just have like a strong kind of masculine vibe, and so they don't get a lot of girls enrolling at it. So they actually use the uniforms as a draw. They made these manga-style like uniforms, and they look pretty cool. They're like all stylized and cute, the way like manga schoolgirls and schoolboys would wear. And so they're actually using that as a selling point to get people to enroll to the school, which is exactly what my thing was. Because I was like, man, we should just switch to a uniform. And the kids were like, no, they're all groaning. I'm like, no, hear me out. Hogwarts uniforms. Like, oh yeah, we totally do that. Like they would love to dress up like they were going to Hogwarts. So yeah, actually they're doing that in Kyoto. They're having like they hired a manga artist to come in and like design these like super cute kawaii like uniforms for the kids. And
oh shit! Actually, if that's anything like some of the mangas I've seen, I don't know, man.
Well, no, there's not like the octopus raping mangas, but just like. Yeah, I'll link it to when we put up our link so you guys can see what we're talking about. But it looks like it's actually drawing more people who want to like go to the school now because they have cool uniforms.
That is an interesting approach. I'd love to see how that like affects things over time, like whether it gets old or like whether it's like, oh no, that's still your thing and you're totally cool.
Yeah, it's just instead of using it as a stick, using the uniforms as a carrot. It's like an interesting approach. Like, come to our school. We have cool uniforms. Like you're in a manga.
Yeah, that's a good way to put that. Well, cool. All right, well, if that's your last item, then that means we are ready for the gaming review section. All right, this is the gaming review section where we talk about games we've been playing. I know one that you've been playing, David. The Life is Strange game. You're still playing that weird game where you like are a cook and a weird.
Oh, Fantasy Life.
Fantasy Life. Oh, is that not it?
No, I actually haven't been playing that lately.
Okay. Oh, so you played that new game, Life is Strange. That's what I meant.
Yeah, Life is Strange, different thing. That's the one that we talked about with the. It's like a Telltale Games kind of game,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it's a lot of fun. Like I just finished the first chapter, and it really feels like an indie movie. Like you're watching, it's got like kind of an indie soundtrack, and it's very artsy. It felt more like an art experience than a game almost, but it's got the same kind of walk around, talk to people, your choices affect the story, and they actually do. They actually do affect the story. But what's cool about this game, and we'll talk about this more in another week when we do time travel, but your character has you play as Max, who's a girl at a private school. Studying photography, like it's an art school,
Hmm.
and she discovers one day that she can actually rewind time a little bit. Like not very long, but for like 30 seconds, she can go back and like redo choices. So like if I'm, let's say I'm snooping around and I'm trying to find some evidence about this guy, and I accidentally drop something and it shatters, and it's like, oh no, he's gonna know I was in here. I can actually rewind time, and then I didn't look at that, but I still know what was in there because she remembers everything from before she went back in time.
So it's
So
like
you
a
can actually
Prince of Persia thing.
yeah, but it's for like it's more in a choices kind of way. So like if you're in a conversation and they do this a lot in the game where you it's like do you want to cover for this girl or do you want to intervene here and or do you want to take the blame for something and you do it and then you hear her inner dialogue a lot. Like unlike most games, you actually hear the character talking to herself in her head, which is cool and she'll be like, "Oh no, I shouldn't have done that. I wonder if I should go back and change it." And so if you go back and change it, then she'll have like regrets on the other side. So no matter what you do, she's gonna have regrets about it. But like it gives you a chance to rethink, instead of just like, "Oh, I just saved. I'm gonna reload my last save because I actually had second thoughts about my decision." That's a feature, not a bug of this game.
Hmm. Weird. Okay.
And
So what's
it's got
is the
really
plot?
cool environment too. Like you can just sit down on like a there's lots of places where you can just sit down on a swing or like on a bench and just listen to your character reflect about what's happening in the day and like how weird the day is and like it's just it really puts you in the head of the main character, which a lot of games don't do.
Wow, that's really cool. Okay.
Like a game where you just sit and think for sometimes and just soak in the environment for a minute and then you press spacebar to get up, go go about the game.
Is there like, I mean, is the plot intriguing? Like, is there a point to
Yeah,
it?
no, it's got like almost a Donnie Darko feel. It's weird in that like you start off and you're in the middle of this tornado, like this big storm, and it's wiping out the city, and you're trying to like take shelter. You're at this weird lighthouse overlooking the city, and then all of a sudden you're in class, and it's like, what was that? I don't know, and then you realize over the course of the game that like that storm's going to happen in 4 days, and so I think you're trying to like stop it from
Mm.
happening or like evacuate the city. I just finished the first chapter, so I don't know where they're going with it, but it's this whole idea of like a doomsday event, and you have traveled back in time somehow, and you have to stop it.
Okay, man. All right, that does sound like a good game. No wonder it's been getting such good reviews. That's crazy.
Yeah, the music is cool. Like the way they do the environment. Like you're walking down the hall. You're at a high school, right? You're walking down. You put your little iPhone, iBuds in your ears, and turn on some music that she's listening to, and you can hear it playing like over her thoughts. Like she's walking around listening to music, and it drowns out the rest of the world. Then she takes them out, and suddenly the world's back. Like it's just, I don't know. It really captures the feeling of being like. What I imagine it would be like to be an 18-year-old girl at a private school, like
Yeah.
it does what it does really well is it puts you into the character's headspace, which I think part of that is because you get to hear her inner monologues. Whereas most of the time, like I don't know, like game design usually they try and do this immersion thing where they try and make the character as bland as possible so you can project yourself onto him, right?
Yeah.
Like Lee in The Walking Dead, you don't get to be in his head very much because they want you to be Lee. But in this game,
Hmm.
they don't want you to be Max. They don't want Max to be you. Like in The Walking Dead, they want Lee to be you. But in this game, they want you to be Max. They want you to be her instead of projecting yourself into her. So it's like
Huh.
a different view on immersion. Instead of you the main character becoming you, you become the main character. It's really
So
interesting.
it's almost like an evolution from the how so many games nowadays do like inner monologues. They do voiceovers. So like in Wolfenstein, they do it all the time. Where he's walking and he goes, huh, the world's changed a lot. As you're like moving through.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Like it sounds
Yeah,
like a natural evolution of
it's
that.
like taking that and putting it into an adventure game, which they usually don't do.
Yeah, so weird. Man, I gotta
Yeah,
play that game.
it's really good. I would recommend it. It's it's an experience. It's more of an artsy experience than like a game. Again, it feels like watching an indie movie compared to like the AAA titles that we normally play.
Well, it sounds exactly like the game I played. That's weird. But so you played the first chapter. Does that mean you have to wait for the next one? Is it like
Yeah,
episodic?
next one's coming out this month, March. So
Really?
that's yeah.
When did the first one come out?
Last month I think, early
Ah, okay.
February.
So a
I think
lot
they're doing
faster than
Yeah, I think
lot
it's
faster.
once a month or once every 2 months they're coming out.
Wow. Okay. Um, yeah, that was in the news section. That's what one of those articles was talking about. It was like, good thing The Walking Dead doesn't come out faster, or Telltale Games. I was like, what? You guys are dumb. What? And they're like, it's good to wait. That way, it gives everyone a chance to talk about the different characters and what decisions they make. And I'm like, I don't know if you guys do that. That literally is one phone call for me. That's like, hey David, what did you do?
Yeah.
We talk about it for maybe a day or two, and then we're good to go. Like, if it's a week from then, or a month from then, or even 2 days from then, I'm not gonna. There's no difference. Like, I have already talked about it and like reveled in it and let it stew, and then I'm good. But
Right.
anyway, so yeah, a month. That would be great. That's awesome.
Yeah, definitely recommend it for anyone that likes those Telltale game style games. This seems to do it puts an interesting twist on it with the time travel rewind mechanic, where you can actually just be like, oh, you know what? I probably should have said this, and you can kind of see what would happen on both things. You don't know the long-term consequences because you can only rewind about 30 seconds, but you can at least like if you start having second thoughts, you're like, yeah, you're right. Maybe I should have done something differently there.
Wow, time is like so powerful. It's like in Heroes, where that old like TV show where Hero, the
Yeah.
main character, was sort of the main character, could like freeze time, and it's just and teleport. It's incredible. It's so powerful. You gotta be careful with it.
Yeah, you can actually kind of teleport in this game too, because if you're freezing time, well, as you're rewinding time, you can kind of move around. So, like, let's say a tree is falling down, you can like rewind to where the tree like is still standing up, and now you're a little ahead of where you were when it fell, and then you can start time again. And it falls behind you, so it's kind of like you teleported forward a little bit. It's kind of cool.
Hmm, it's cool. Well, that's fun. I have been playing another artsy game as well. It's not near as fun, it sounds like, but I was intrigued by it. It's that Never Alone game that I talked about last time.
Hmm.
It's this idea of these Inuits. I'm pretty sure that's the right word. They haven't said it in a while, but it's basically like a Native American Alaskans, like Eskimos, basically. Um, and it's just weird. It's another one of those like using games as a medium for art more than like a game, because there's some gaming involved, like some pushing and pulling of crates and like little like small problem solving, like oh look, here's a ledge I can't get to. I've got an Arctic fox, which is my little friend who's kind of bonded to me, and then like now there's these spirits coming in that you can kind of use, and like I've got a bola I can throw, and things like that, like these actual stuff that they used back in the day. But every time you get a new item or get to a new area or it introduces a new concept, it shows a video of some actual like Native American Alaskans talking about it, and talking about what it was like when they were younger and they were living like that, and like it's cool. It's like, I mean, if you like documentaries, like or like if you
Yeah,
ever watch
I
National
was
Geographic.
gonna say it sounds like a documentary more than a game almost.
Yeah, it kind of is. Like it's about this tale that I guess they had in their lore. Or I don't know if that's true yet or not. It's an actual Native American Alaskan guy talking, narrating it. He's like, then the little girl was caught in the blizzard or whatever. It sounds like this sounds just like Native Americans that were in the U.S. So it's like got this kind of, I don't know, charming thing. It's got a weird like art style for like the little cutscenes and stuff. I don't know. It really is just an artistic experience. Like gaming, like when you pause it and you get to see these cool little things of like how they stitched their drums together, or like how they made their clothes, like and when they would, because they would hunt like the caribou like at during the summer because they had longer, thicker coats and thicker skin, and so just stuff like that you get to learn, and you're like, whoa, I'm actually enjoying learning this. So I mean, I guess if
Oh
you like
man.
learning about weird shit like that, then and you want to play a little game in between that's kind of fun and cute. It's just it's totally different so far.
Yeah, I love it when games are used as like edutainment almost, like when it works. Not like Mario's Time Machine where it's just like it's like a thinly veiled history test, but like when it's actually like teaching you stuff,
Yeah,
and you don't realize you're learning. Like that's how you make education fun.
yeah, and they got some pretty good music too, and I'm starting to realize how important music is in games, to set the tone. Like man, like Child of Light, like that game, was
Yeah.
when you're playing it, you're just like, shit. It puts you in the mood and in the right frame of mind to interpret what the game is throwing at you. That's kind of what this is doing too. It's just, I don't know. Like I wouldn't say I love it though. It's not like Child of Light or anything like that. That was just absolutely phenomenal. But it's I don't know. So far it's slowly climbing. From like when at first I was like, what the fuck is this? And a couple of videos of people talking about like, yeah, we were up on the peninsula, and I was like, I don't care where you were. And then eventually you start getting into their lives and how they survived harsh winters and stuff, and like the way they recreated and the way they thought about like nature and stuff. And then you're start getting more into the storyline, and some cool things start happening. The climax is coming up. You're like, oh, this is not bad. But
cool. So would you recommend it, or is it just for like a niche audience?
I still don't know, dude. That's the thing. Like, I played a little more actually today, and I paused it, and I was like, what am I gonna say about this? I think, I'm still like on the fence, man. I'm still like, I can't decide. It's I want to finish it and then determine if it was worth it, but I don't know. I know that I'm a kind of a curious person. So if you're like one of these people who goes to Wikipedia and finds yourself like there for hours and like 20 different links away, I think this is maybe the game for you. But if you're just looking for a game, it's not like that fun, the game part. But it's an experience. I don't know, dude. I'm gonna have to keep playing it before I tell anyone whether they should buy it or not, because it's I don't know. It's a little weird.
Oh, it kind of makes me think of. Did you see that clip of Neil deGrasse Tyson answering the 6-year-old's question, "What's the meaning of life?"
No, I missed it.
Oh yeah, it was really cool because he said a lot of people ask that question like, "What's the meaning of life?" as if meaning is some kind of like answer that's out there that's hidden that can be found, and not something that you create. And he's like, for me, the meaning of life is like you learn something new every day, and you become a little closer to knowing everything that's possible to know. Like you're not there yet, and you may never get there, but you get a little closer, and that's when I know that my life had meaning and my day had meaning. So like playing that game would get him a little bit closer to like the meaning of life for him.
Yeah, that's okay. So Neil deGrasse Tyson, I love that guy. Obviously, he's awesome. Love listening to his podcast, Star Talk Radio. Very cool guy. But occasionally, I'm listening to that, and like he just oversteps his boundaries and starts talking about like how to raise kids and stuff. And then I'm like, that's actually just wrong, NDT, bro. Fist bump, but no, don't do that, guys. That's bad for your kids. And I find him talking on psychology a lot, and sometimes he's right. Most of the times he's wrong. But that one is actually perfect. If you do ACT, that's one of the first modules you're going to do is values-based stuff, like determining people.
Find out what your meaning of life is for you.
Yeah, exactly, because we see it as a tool. Literally, we call it, what's it called? Instrumental approach, but it means like using it as an instrument of values. It's so cool. Yeah. So that's good. Very well done, NDT.
So, final thoughts on the game? You're still playing it?
Yeah, man. I was going into this and I was like, maybe it'll come to me as I'm talking. I don't know, but no, man. I don't know. I just don't know. I'll have to wait for it. Like next week, I'll try to get enough into the game where I can tell you one way or the other, if you should get it and how much you should pay for it. But hopefully, I don't get distracted by that Life is Strange game. And now you got me really wanting to play that.
Yeah, everyone that's on the fence for that one, it's only $5 for the first episode. Like you can. The price modeling's cool. You can buy the whole season pass. You can get all the episodes for $20, or you can just do $4.99, $5, and pay for one episode. And if you like it, you can get the rest as they come out.
I'd like to do that. At the first of every month, we get paid I have like 4 different jobs, and like Amy's got her job, so we get paid this massive chunk, and I'm always like, don't spend it, don't spend it, don't spend it, don't spend it. But I'm probably gonna spend it. So.
Yeah, I'm usually Tony Stark on the first of the month, and then Peter Parker for the rest of the month.
Yeah, exactly. So I gotta be careful, but man, that sounds like a hell of a game, and maybe we can let Amy play too. I've been trying to get her into. She's just started the Telltale games, the Game of Thrones one.
Oh god.
Because she won't play Walking Dead, but because she's like, oh, it's too morbid. But then she plays Game of Thrones,
which is super way worse. Like I feel more depressed after Game of Thrones than Walking Dead.
Yeah. Because in Walking Dead, you got like agency, like as far as you know, you're the only people that are doing anything. You're making a difference. But in Game of Thrones, you're literally an ant under everyone's heel. You're just like, please don't crush me, please, man. But yeah, so definitely do that. I also we've been playing some Zombie, the H1Z1 still. Me and JT and Tim have been playing the shit out of that. Pretty fun. We've gotten to the point where we're really set up. We got a little base, We've had to defend a couple people coming, checking us out. It's it's just these fun little storylines of like, we're like, okay, we're gonna get to the hardware store, pull the spark plugs, and then Jeremiah, you climb to the top of the hardware store, and then because I'm the sniper, you stay up there and then just scan. But when you're a sniper, it's just like real life where snipers they spend like 10% of their time like training shooting. The rest of it is like about camouflage, concealment, using the radio, reporting, surveillance, counter surveillance, approaching a target, counter approaching a target, like so how to get someone to notice if someone's approaching you, that camouflage, good selection of place, like where you want to be placed, that kind of thing. And that's how it feels here because I'm like, I've only got 3 rounds, man. I can headshot for days, but that's not gonna kill a group. So I just like spot. It's fun. It's good. They make the run inside, and I'm like, guys, someone's coming! Oh my god! And then they get out of the car and they're like looking into our car. And I'm like, they're trying to get in our car. It's locked. And I'm like, there's 3 of them, man. I've only got 2 rounds. I can't do this. And they're like, that's okay. Just hide. We'll hide in here. We locked ourselves in the bathroom. Let us know if they come. It was so fun. But we got that. And now we got a political war. There's this there's a group of bandits that they stole our car, and then we went and stole it back. And when we stole it back, they had put like little sticks in the ground, like punji sticks, which are like little traps that they use in Vietnam, so that when you drove over, it popped our tires, and we're like, oh no! And they tried to snipe us, and we got out, and we just ran, and we're like, split up, go in different directions. And I died, and the other ones didn't. And then we're like, I was like, that's it. So this time I got in like camouflage clothes, and I army crawled for like 30 minutes, going up onto this area where I could just see over into the tower, and I was waiting to snipe people. I was there for like an hour, like straight up real sniper shit. Trying to eat and drink. Good thing you don't have to pee or poop. But I was reporting their location the whole time. I was like, one's out front. I can't get a clean shot on him. Okay, he's going west towards Pleasant Valley. And they're like, maybe we'll try to split him off. So they got in the car and try to get. We're just trying to like destroy these bandits because they are assholes. They just go and snipe these new people who like they literally try to kill you if you have a white shirt, which means you're brand new. And then they mostly leave everyone else alone, but they're super aggressive. But anyway, it's funny. There's like a whole relationship now between us, and there's another group that like we helped them out, and now they're like our allies. It's funny. They've got a gang name. They're just called the Friends, which is lame, but now we're allies with them. Just hilarious. Just a fun little situation.
Yeah, I've been pretty busy this week, but I got on for like 1 supply run. It's like amazing how paranoid you are. You're like, run out, okay, get in there. And then like we got shot at, and I was like, everyone get in the car. And you were like, no, fuck those guys, they shot at me. So like you went out there to like find out where they were, but they had a beat on us. We didn't know where they were, and we ended up getting slaughtered. JT and you both died, and I like ran in the truck, and it was all getting shot at. I'm like, oh! I'm crying. There's all this like black smoke coming out of the truck, and I'm like driving it home, but it's like the super slow truck, so it's all like crappy anyway. And
dude, he's trying to start a thing now because we got a cop car, and he turns on the sirens and just drives through, which is like suicide, right? Because like you're gonna get jumped because it's going woo, woo, and this is a place where you take out your headlights out of a car so that no one knows you're there, and when we see people, we pull over and we're like, it's the ice cream truck, get out, get hands down, like, belly down on the pavement, go. And so they get down on the ground, and then I just put food and water and ammunition, and I'm like, congratulations, good luck, buddy. And then we get out and we leave, and we're like, woohoo, another new field. So we're like, we've been doing that. The game is hilarious like that, but yeah, you get super paranoid in these situations. But it's nice. I get to use like my military training. I'm like, okay, so here you want to V up here, and then we'll use where you do fire for effect and stuff. It's fun.
Yeah, we even figured out a way because the bows have like better range than what you can see, really. So we figured out how to like call down artillery strikes with bow and arrows when we're hunting deer.
Yeah, that was awesome. Like, so we're sighting just like real artillery, where it's like all right, fire, and then you fire once, and I'm like, be just maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah, because you're looking through the scope of a gun or binoculars, so you can see what I can't see.
Yeah, so he moves it, slowly adjusts, and he fires. And we were like headshotting people from just, like 300 yards away or something ridiculous.
Yeah, you're like, okay, just a small, like a pixel to the left. I'm like, got it.
And it's like this huge arch up into the air.
Yeah, it's so high you can't see what you're shooting at anyway, even if it wasn't so far away. Like you're shooting at stars basically, or clouds.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, we're really enjoying it so far. But I don't know, maybe it'll. This is one of these games where it might get old over time. We'll see. But they're adding in new stuff like hordes of zombies and
supply I'll probably be more interested to play once the hordes get there.
Yeah, but anyway, yep, been playing that, and of course here's the storm. But other than that, that's all I've been doing.
Well, my brother, he's kind of a born again gamer. He's gaming a lot more these days, and I got a package in the mail from him the other day of Monster Hunter Ultimate 4 for the 3DS.
Nice.
So he bought two copies, one for him, one for me, and I just we don't play it except once a week. We have like this designated monster hunt time where we just go out there and we call it Drake teaming because that's our last name. So we just Drake team some monsters, really just take them down. So it's fun. It's like a really complicated game. Like it's pretty challenging, but you kind of learn as you go, and it's got a lot of fiddly bits. And I reviewed Monster Hunter 3 last year, so it's like that, only better. But what's cool is like we'll be out there like gathering. We're on like these newbie quests right now. We have to go gather stuff, and so we're just gathering, like we're catching bugs and like gathering, like picking, mining ore and stuff. And all of a sudden, this crazy tree monkey monster came down, and, like started attacking us. So we're like, oh shit! So we're running around. We're doing like these weird wolf pack tactics, trying to kill it. He killed us both, and we ended up like running out of time. So it was a failed hunt. But it was our first big foray into monster hunting. So it's kind of fun. We just have like a weekly, brothers gaming day, where for like an hour we just go out and hunt a monster.
That is fun, man. That's I wish I had a brother and/or a gaming partner like that. That'd be nice.
I'll be your brother.
Yes, you can't. You're already my wife. My
That's
wife,
true. Sorry.
according to my wife, at least.
Waifu,
Yeah.
but Ayu is the best waifu.
Excellent. But yeah. Okay. Anything else?
No. Although, side note, I just looked up the etymology of ultra crepidarian because I was curious. It comes from the Latin crepidum, which means the sole of a shoe or sandal, and it's an allusion to Pliny the Elder, who said, "In a supra crepidum sutor judicare, let the cobbler not judge above the sandal." In other words, stick to shoes, cobbler. We don't care what you say.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, that. As it turns out, Neil deGrasse Tyson is one of those, unfortunately. But he's a smart guy. He knows a lot of things. Just man,
Yeah,
people in
and to be
psychology-
honest, if I only ever spoke about French literary theory, this would be a pretty boring podcast. So
Yeah.
I'm a bit of an ultra crepidarian myself.
for sure. We all are, I guess. But anyway, well, cool. All right, then I guess we're done with that section. We'll move on to the meat of the show, the name of the topic, which is going to be discussing Anita Sarkeesian's most recent NYU thing. She finally gave like bullet points of things that you want. It was really intriguing. So we'll get to that. We'll see you on the other side.